I'd hate for being disgusted and just saying okay when my fiancé broke up with me. I, 28, had been with my fiancé, Alex, 34, since 2020. We met at a friend's party, hit it off, and have had been together ever since. He finished his doctorate in economics just last year. Since then, he has been working at the UMate. I have my master's in media sciences and decided to start working instead of going for a PhD. Okay, so the problem is that Alex broke up with me last Monday. It was literally so surreal and honestly, just weird for the past few months. He had been acting strange. He was making demands and then dropping them immediately. A few examples. He told me we were going to paint our walls back from dark green to white. When I asked why, he just said, for fuck's sake, forget it, and never brought it up again, even when I asked. Another time he came home and got mad because I was sitting on the couch with my head covered in a blanket. I had cramps. He was upset because I was mopsharai just sitting there watching Alice's. Mind you, the house was spotless. When I tried to talk about it, he said, sure, forget it, it's not a big deal. This kind of thing became common every time I tried to communicate, tried to figure out what was going on, whether it was something I did or maybe he was just stressed at work. He would just say everything was fine, but he was clearly seething with rage. He would find something to complain about, the apartment, clothes, me, work, etc. So I gave him space, which apparently was also wrong. I told him I was going to help my parents with repairs for a few days, and somehow that was also wrong because he wanted to renovate the apartment too. Then on Monday I got a text saying we needed to talk. I knew what was coming, and after the last few months I had made peace with it. When I came home he was sitting on the couch. He didn't even wait for me to take off my jacket before saying, I want to break up. Then the verbal diarrhea started. He told me he resented me first because I didn't pursue my academic career further, even though I was capable, and he didn't want to upset me at the time. Then when I started making more money, since he didn't make much as a PhD student, he felt like I should have the last word financially, and he hated it. Mind you, I never said anything like Meritas my money, so I have the final say. That's a rule he imposed on himself, and he hated it. He said he hated our paint scheme, the couch, and even our crockpot. Then he told me he had rejected a better PhD program to stay here because I had already started my job by the time he got the acceptance letters, only he never told me he had even applied overseas. He said a few months ago he checked in with a friend who in that program, saw how they were thriving and decided I ruined his life. He said I had too much control over his life and that he hated the idea that I could just decide not to pay for things and of him over. I honestly don't even know what that means. He also said he hated that all his friends loved me and didn't let him vent about me. Then he said again, Min Chan done, one done. I was floored. I had already made peace with the idea that we were ending and it hurt. But after that rant, I was just disgusted. I looked at him probably with a disgusted expression and said, okay, he lost it. He said this is exactly what he meant, that it was horrible. We had been together for 4 years and all I had to say was Mutsun Toke to our breakup. I just asked if he wanted to stay here while he figured out where to go. He said, Amber, typical, of course you were holding the apartment over me, and started ranting again, so I just left. I told my parents and they were also confused. My dad suggested I reach out to our landlord and explain the situation to see what options I have. I can keep paying the rent no problem myself. He covered the utilities and some subscriptions. Just to reiterate, I never had a problem with this. I saw that he was chasing his dream, and that was more important to me than a 50-50th financial split. I make good money and am happy at my job. I never saw it as punch biao slaving away. I always had the mentality that my money was our money because we were building a life together. Of course I had my own savings and fun money, but I honestly never cared. As long as I felt he was working towards something and wasn't taking advantage of me, I was fine with it. More than fine. Alex is still mad. He's going between texting me like a robot about the logistics of the split to being a seething I'm all complaining about everything. I'm not even hurt anymore. I just feel nauseated by him at this point. I don't know. Should I have reacted differently?